Welcome to our segment where we talk about tough questions of the Bible or religion. Today we want to talk about which is more powerful, God or chance. Now, chance means the occurrences and development of events in the absence of any obvious design. Now, of course, we Christians believe that God is in control. He is sovereign, and God gets done whatever He wants to get done. There is a great story in the Bible about people deciding which is true, God or chance. We find this story in chapters 4 through 6 of 1 Samuel. So let me set this story up. The Ark of the Covenant was very important to Israel. And the Ark of the Covenant was a wooden chest overlaid with gold that contained the tablets of the law. Now, the law, the tablets would have been the 10 Commandments that God wrote by His own hand that He gave to Moses on Mount Sinai. It served both the practical and symbolic purposes and was instrumental in both rituals and miracles that we find in the Scripture. Now, the Israelites believed the Ark of the Covenant was symbolically Yahweh's throne or God's throne, representing His very presence. And so sadly, the Ark of the Covenant became what we would say a good luck charm to the Israelites. And so in our story, what we find is the Israelites lost a battle to the Philistines, a group of people that was always fighting the Israelites. Remember, Goliath was a Philistine. And when they lost the battle and they started trying to think, why did we lose this battle? They thought it was because they didn't have the ark with them. And so they go get the ark, and then they go back and fight with the Philistines again. And they're all excited thinking, we're going to win this time. Why? Because we have our good luck charm. We have the Ark of the Covenant. And so instead of putting their faith in God, they put their good luck charm, they put their faith into the good luck charm of the Ark of the Covenant. And so the Philistines are actually scared because when the Israelites got their Ark of the Covenant in the camp, they made such a loud noise that the Philistines found out that the Ark of the Covenant had arrived and the Israelites had all this confidence. And so they were actually scared to go into battle, but they did. And they fought with everything they had because they were scared. And the Philistines got the victory again. And so they defeat the Israelites. And so God here is teaching the Israelites a lesson. He allows them to lose this battle because they were putting their faith in the Ark of the Covenant and not into God. And so not only did the Philistines win the battle, but they captured the Ark, which was really important and precious to the Israelites. So now, God taught the Israelites a lesson because they lost the battle, even though they had their good luck charm. And now He's going to teach the Philistines a lesson because they have got the Ark of the Covenant, which should stay with God's people. And the Israelites, or not the Israelites, the Philistines, here's where we get to the interesting story. The Philistines take the Ark to the town of Ashdod, and they put it at the foot of their idol, Dagon, in the temple. So they take this Ark of the Covenant, they take it to their temple where they served a false god, and they put it at the foot of this idol. And it was a sign of disrespect to God and the Israelites, or the God of the Israelites, because they put this Ark of the Covenant at the foot of Dagon, their idol. And so the next morning they come into the temple, and what do they find? The Philistines find their idol, Dagon, had fallen over on its face, and it was now in front of the ark. So they stood the idol back up, and they go home, and the next morning they come back, and they again find the idol, Dagon, had toppled over, and this time its head and hands had broken off. So God is showing them that in their temple, their idol, Dagon, is not as powerful as God of the Ark of the Covenant. Not only did God do this, God then struck the people of Ashdod with a plague of tumors and rats. So they get infested by rats, and then their bodies start getting filled with tumors. And so the people of Ashdod are like, why are we got all this rat problem, and why are we sick with these tumors? It must be because we got this Ark of the Covenant in our town because our idol fell over and busted its head in its hands. So they move it to another Philistine town called Gath. And so Gath now has the Ark of the Covenant. What happens in Gath? They get a rat problem and they get tumors. Okay? And so the people of Gath are like, we don't want the Ark of the Covenant. So now they want to ship it to another town. And the other town goes, oh, no. We don't want the Ark of the Covenant because in the two previous towns, you got a rat problem and you got tumors. So we don't want the Ark of the Covenant. So now the people, the Philistines, come together and go, nobody wants the Ark of the Covenant. How about we send it back to Israel? Because they are thinking it's causing tumors and rats. Now, here is where it gets interesting because it's an experiment. They want to decide, is this superstition and just in our heads that we're getting rat problems, an infestation of rats and these tumors only because we have the Ark of the Covenant, or is it really just in our minds psychologically? So we're going to do an experiment. Is it God or is it just chance that this happened at the same time? So here's what they do. They build a chest and they put in this chest 5 golden rats to signify the rat problem, and tumors, these lumps they made of gold to represent the tumors. And they put 5 gold tumors and 5 golden rats in this chest. And so here's what they do. They build a wagon, and again, this is an experiment of God or chance. So they take this wagon, but even though they're trying to make this an experiment, they stack the deck. So they build a wagon, they put this chest with the 5 gold rats and the 5 gold tumors that are in the chest, they put it on the wagon. Then they go and they get 2 cows to pull the wagon. And here's where it gets really interesting. They get 2 cows that just gave birth. Now, if you know anything about livestock or cows, when they give birth, it's in their instincts. God made them a certain way that what do they care about? Taking care of their calves. So they take these cows that just gave birth and have never pulled a wagon. They've never been trained together. They've never pulled a wagon together. So they're inexperienced at pulling a wagon, and they just gave birth. They put their calves in a pen. And so theoretically, technically, what normally happens is the cows will want to get with their calves. So their calves are in a pen. They hear the calves over here are lowing, and they give the cows, they hook them up to the yoke to pull the wagon, and they decide that this is an experiment that is going to prove whether it's chance or God. And here's what they say in 1 Samuel chapter 6, verses 8 to 9, and this is how we know it was an experiment. They said, put the ark of the Lord on a cart, and beside it place a chest containing the gold rats and the gold tumors you are sending as a guilt offering. Because now they felt guilty that they took this from the Israelites. Then let the cows go wherever they want. If they cross the border of our land and go to Beth Shemesh, which is Beth Shemesh is Israelite town, if they cross the border into Israel, we would know it was the Lord who brought this great disaster upon us. If they don't, we know it was not His hand that caused the plague. You see what they're doing? If the cows go to Israel, we know that God caused us to have these tumors and these rat infestation. However, if they don't go and they turn around and kind of try to find their calves, we know it was just by chance when we got this plague. And sure enough, these cows go straight back to Israel. And the Philistines got their answer, that they learned that the God of Israel was in complete control. And they realized that the God of Israel was more powerful than their false god, Dagon, right? So they learned a lesson here. Now, we see this over and over again in our culture, that people look at the creation of the universe, it happened by chance and not by our Creator. These people believe that the universe came to be through space plus time plus chance. Just by chance, our universe was created. To me, this is nonsense. There's nothing that chance can do. We use the word chance to describe mathematical possibilities like flipping a coin, heads or tails. And, by chance it landed heads. By chance it landed tails. And however, chance is not a person, a being, it's not a thing. It's not an entity. It has no power because chance has no existence. Therefore, chance can't exercise no influence over anything. Yet, we have scientists today that declare that the whole universe was created by chance, when chance doesn't exist. It just describes heads or tails or a mathematical possibility. So this means that nothing caused something. Now, what scientist is using a scientific method when they believe nothing caused something? We believe that God created the universe. And so, to me, when you believe in chance created the universe, there's nothing scientific about that. Everything has a cause, and the ultimate cause, as we have seen, is God, just like the Philistines learned in their experiments of chance versus God. I hope you stay tuned to future Tough Questions segments where we explore topics from the Bible.